Hi everyone, my name is Frances Saenz. I chose to base my thesis on the question of what is an American and how do immigrants change or reinforce certain conceptions of Americanness. In my thesis, you may notice that I will focus more on how immigrants reinforce such conceptions. One of my first sources is a shorter segment of The Promised Land written by Mary Antin in 1912. Her writings share her experience as a Russian Jew who faced many hardships, significantly discrimination. She accounts that Jewish children were admitted into schools by small numbers, and it was even harder for girls to get in. Her journey to the frontier with her family took an estimated 6 weeks, but it was not without a few obstacles on the way. On their last stop in Russia, they were stopped by a German company who threatened to take away both their tickets and passports if her family refused to purchase an upgrade to first class, which was unnecessary. Once she enters the United States, she expresses her excitement when she first realized that America had something to offer for a little girl like herself, which was the opportunity of free education without any questions or restrictions that she once faced in Russia. My next source comes from Li Chu's The Biography of a Chinaman. He shares with his readers of first being inspired to come to the United States when a fellow villager had returned to China when he was about 16. His neighbor had left a poor farm boy and came back with wealth and success. Chu began to ponder that he too could go, as he says, to the country of wizards and gain some of their wealth. He begins his new life learning domestic work from American women, first working as a servant, and saving enough money to open his own laundry business with a partner. When his trade of laundry became difficult to maintain due to cheap business, as he says, he decided to make a move to New York, where he would become a merchant and would still maintain that determination to be successful in the United States. He ends his writings with a noted disappointment with the American government to continue to exclude the Chinese and the maltreatment of those Chinese people who were already in the United States during that time. Despite the treatment, however, he does not believe the American people to be as bad as most were saying in that time. My third source comes from my great grandmother. It is from an unsent letter to her sister back in Mexico. Her letter was mainly meant as an apology to her sister for her sudden move to the United States in the early 1900s with her husband. She explains that she left to live a life without fear they once faced in Mexico. Violence had erupted in Mexico, and her growing family felt unsafe and had even received threats due to her husband being a government soldier. She describes her life as being a bit of a downgrade from her previous life in Mexico, but she expresses it's for the greater good for the future of her children. She describes her new trade of packing various vegetables and fruits while her husband works in the fields for long hours. She also describes living in camps, later termed bracero camps, traveling from the Imperial Valley to as far north as Salinas for seasonal work. Although it is a hard life, she expresses it's all sacrifice for her children to sleep peacefully at night. My final, and what I consider to be one of my more essential sources, is from Hector St. Jean and his writing titled Letters from an American Farmer. This was written in 1782. His writings are not so much focusing on his journey, but rather on his ideology of America and American culture in the early 1700s. He describes Americans to be scattered throughout the territories, yet united by a sole single government. He shares a powerful analogy where he compares immigrants to plants who were once withered and worn down in their old countries, but now transplanted in a new nation. They've taken root and they flourish. He expresses that America is not just another country, but rather it stands as a symbol of hope for many immigrants who come and for those still wishing to come to the United States. So what is an American? An American is a person who embodies perseverance when seeking to accomplish difficult dreams, especially when it may seem as if the world is shutting them out. An American who is someone who does not limit himself, but rather embrace their own will to flourish and create a better future for themselves and generations to come. Although Americans may be of different backgrounds, they truly are united by a sole government. Early immigrants, like the ones I have discussed, reinforce such aspects of Americanness by embodying such determination to better their lives. I believe as time progresses, Americanness is repeatedly reinforced by not only immigrants, but their generations to follow as well.